To prepare you for the upcoming November elections, Fox 16 has contacted all candidates in national and major statewide races and invited them to come on Fox 16 News at 5.
And today we're joined by Senator Blanche Lincoln, who's running for her third term in the U.S. Senate. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You emerged the winner from a very close and difficult battle with Bill Halter in the primary. Did you learn anything from that particular election and then having the runoff race with him?
Well, I think it's most important to learn that in any midterm of a new administration, it's going to be a challenge. It's always difficult. People's expectations after a presidential election year have been elevated, and you've got to make sure that you're working hard, that you're talking to folks and getting out, getting your message out and reminding them, you know, what it is that you're fighting hard for and what you will do. And I think the primary was a real blessing, to be honest with you, in this difficult year.
Why do you say that?
Well, at the primary, it makes you better. It makes you, you know, get ready earlier, and you don't hesitate to make sure that your operation is working well. We've been able to really put together a great 75-county operation. We did that in the primary, so it was already done. We've been able to fine-tune some of that. It's a tough year, there's no doubt, and it's particularly tough for incumbents. You've got two incumbents in the Senate race because Congressman Boozman's an incumbent as well. But it makes a difference to be prepared and ready, and I think that the primary really was a blessing to help us get ready.
Voters are watching and listening very carefully for obvious reasons.
They should.
Yesterday, you voted in favor of an amendment to repeal part of the health care law that forces small businesses to report purchases of $600 or more to the IRS. You supported this because of what you call onerous paperwork. It's a burden on small businesses.
Right.
Okay. It failed, but had it passed, it would have taken $11 billion. That's a huge chunk of change from the health care bill over 10 years aimed at disease prevention. You voted for the health care overhaul. Why do you think this is a good idea?
Well, first of all, I think it's important for people to understand that healthcare reform is something that for the last 3 decades we've been trying to do, and it's very, very complicated. We're not going to solve it in one bill, and I think we need to be prepared when things don't work, or if we find what we've done in the healthcare bill is something that is going to be contrary to what we need to be focused on, which is job creation, and small businesses are the best place for us to create jobs in this type of an economy, that we need to make those kind of changes, and I didn't have any trouble with that.
Did you have any trouble taking $11 billion away from the public health fund to fight preventative diseases?
But there's plenty of resources still there for prevention and wellness in the bill. I mean, this was a fund that was there. It was undesignated in terms of the specifics of prevention and wellness. There's still great components in this bill that focus on wellness and prevention is a key part of it. There's no doubt. I support that absolutely and have in the past and will continue to. But I think that there's an important thing right now that if what we want to do is make sure that we get more small businesses insured and that we allow them to grow and excel and to create jobs, we've got to take away some of these onerous parts of the bill that really the whole purpose of what that 1099 filing was for was to make sure that we close the loophole on services for 1099s and that we provided that kind of effort to close those types of loopholes, and it created revenues as well.
You talk about creating jobs, certainly the economy, that's number one. Everyone talking about the economy right now. So if you are reelected, what do you plan to do specifically to help generate more jobs in Arkansas?
Well, first of all, we're going to do some more of what we have been doing. Whether you're talking about windmill blade factories or turbines, I've been working very hard with industries to ensure that we've got, you know, we're creating an environment. Government's not going to create the jobs. The jobs are going to come from industry and small businesses, but government can create a better environment where jobs can be created, a better environment of more predictability in terms of the tax code, making sure that we're seeing investments like we have seen through government programs where we can leverage both the resources of the government, but leverage more in terms of private investments. One of the things I worked very, very hard with the new market tax credits into Arkansas. We've got about $150 million additional dollars into Arkansas since last year in that program. Also looking at the tax incentives that we can provide small businesses. You know, there's a lot of that in this small business bill that we're working on right now, and I think that's important. to ensure that we've got the kind of incentives and government environment where small businesses can excel. So other things too. I've created and brought $4 million extra dollars into Arkansas in the timber sale program, which is going to be helpful to our forest and timber products industry. You know, looking at the agriculture disaster that we just got passed today, that's coming forward. That's, you know, 270,000 jobs in Arkansas is agriculture, about $16 billion into our economy.
Let's talk a little bit about your opponent, John Boozman. Of course, you know that he supports legislation that would replace income tax with a 23% national sales tax. You're obviously against this. Well, why do you think it's such a bad idea, though?
Well, I think it's a bad idea for multiple reasons. One, all he's going to do is do away with the IRS. Well, I'm not too fond of the IRS either, and I've worked hard to simplify the tax code and do other things. But eliminating it and just replacing your federal income tax with a 23% tax on everything that you buy, everything from the loaf of bread to the gallon of gas to the automobile to the house, and doing away with all of the deductions, your mortgage interest deduction, your college tuition deductions.
It sounds good.
Well, the fact is, though, you're still going to be paying state sales tax and local and county sales tax. You're still going to be paying state income tax, excise taxes, property taxes. The only thing they're doing away with is the federal income tax, and you're replacing it with something that is going to be enormously regressive on low and middle income Americans. It's going to be a boon to the wealthy, but it's going to put an added burden on every other working American out there in terms of taxing everything. And 23% is really not even enough. Even the Bush and the Reagan economists have said that it's a bad idea and that there's no way that a 23% is going to replace all of the revenue coming in under a federal income tax. It's going to probably be closer to something like 30 to 34%. No. But 34% on buying a house, do you know what that's going to do to home ownership or automobiles or college tuition or groceries or farms or anything else? I mean, it's a 23 to 30 to 34% tax on everything you purchase. And I just think it's going to be a really bad idea for our economy and a really bad idea for Arkansans.
Well, I think we're going to have to leave it there. We've run out of time, but we certainly do thank you, Senator Lincoln, for being here with us today.
We do.
You bet. Thank you.